Now we begin with updates from Niger. What's happening in Africa's coup? Well, Shivan has all the details. Let's go across to him.
Thanks, Him. Of course, we need to talk about Niger because the conflict in the region is now spreading beyond the African ambit. Now, the self-declared new leader of Niger said that the military regime would not bow to pressure to reinstate ousted President Mohamed Bazoum. Now, pay attention to the words that are being used. The military regime will not bow to pressure. What pressure is this? We will be discussing all of this and more. The remarks have intensified a standoff with the West African bloc known as ECOWAS, which has threatened to intervene after last week's coup, which happened in Niger. Now, military regimes in Mali and Burkina Faso are supporting Niger coup leader, while the US, UK and the European Union and others are backing ECOWAS. So it is becoming a case of the junta, which we are seeing in Burkina Faso, in Mali and now in Niger, versus the West. And this is all happening in the African region. The conflict is spiraling beyond the African region. Now, here's an analysis of the developments so far and why it is so important on the global scale as well. The Economic Community of West African States, or ECOWAS, this is what it stands for, is a 15-member bloc. Considered one of the pillars of the African Economic Community, ECOWAS was set up to foster the ideal of collective self-sufficiency for its member states. As a trading union, it is also meant to create a single large trading bloc through economic cooperation between all these nations which come together in this ECOWAS bloc. Now, ECOWAS announced travel and economic sanctions against Niger on Sunday over the coup. So they are essentially now going up against the coup leaders in Niger with these sanctions, which are extremely strict. The 15-member bloc has threatened to use force on Niger coup leaders if they do not abide by the sanctions that are being levied on them. Now, ECOWAS also sent a team to negotiate with military officers who seized power, hoping to find a diplomatic solution before they have to decide whether or not to intervene. Now, there is a bid to negotiate with the coup leaders, but since there is a backing from Burkina Faso and Mali, there are little chances of that happening anytime soon. The military regime, however, is refusing to back down. In a televised address, coup leader said that the junta rejects these sanctions altogether and refuses to give in to any kinds of threats wherever they come from. Now, again, mark these words, wherever these threats are coming from. So it's not just directed at the ECOWAS bloc, it is directed to powers which are backing ECOWAS as well. Now, amid pressure from ECOWAS, the military regimes in Mali and Burkina Faso are backing the Niger junta. Africa's Sahel region is witnessing the 7th coup of recent years. There have been coup after coup in this region. It's the 7th in recent years. Now, recent African coups include Burkina Faso, Mali and Chad. Burkina Faso's army ousted the president in January of 2022, blaming him for failing to contain violence by militants. A group of Malian colonels ousted the president in August of 2020. The coup followed anti-government protests over deteriorating security, contested legislative elections, and allegations of corruption. Now, Chad's army took power in April of 2021 after the president was killed on the battlefield while visiting troops fighting rebels in the north. There has been a lot of violence that has ensued on this land. Mali and Burkina Faso, ruled by juntas, have said that any military intervention in Niger would be considered a declaration of war against them as well. Now, I need you to pay a little attention to this joint statement which has come from Burkina Faso and Mali. So if there is any kind of intervention, it will be considered as a declaration of war. Intervention from who? That is the big question, because ECOWAS has a major backing from the European Union. So they are essentially passing this statement for the ears of European leaders and the West at large. Now remember, Niger is a main Western ally in a fight against insurgents. The coup has been condemned by foreign powers who fear it could allow the militants to gain ground. Backing ECOWAS, UK said the bloc's actions reflect strong commitment to a democracy. Now, US Secretary of State Anthony Blinken welcomed ECOWAS bloc's action on Sunday. He said, "We join ECOWAS and leaders in calling for immediate release of president and restoration of state functions to legitimate democratically elected government. The EU has suspended all security cooperation with Niger after the country's army took power in a coup. So there is a lot of action which is happening in Niger, and the conflict can spiral beyond the African ambit, as we will see in the days to come. Of course, at WION, we will keep you abreast of all the developments.